my name is Alexandra and welcome to Creative 404. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to create a BJD body in Autodesk Maya. This is just a base mesh and it's supposed to give you a basis in which to make your own doll based upon your own preferences. This could be anything from your own proportions to your own visual style that you would like to do. However, this is just a basis, so I really wanted you to be able to take some tips and tricks from my own style of modeling. This is meant for beginners and intermediates, so if you're an absolute beginner, please consider doing some absolute beginner tutorials on YouTube and your online learning software or website. This is just a casual kind of tutorial, so please forgive me if it's not as formal as what you're used to. So this is the doll that we're going to make. It's absolutely pretty, but once you start modeling it, it's actually going to look gray. I decided to texture mine and give you a little bit of a visual appeal to what we're going to create today. So this is a long tutorial. I believe I said I've divided it into 3 parts. This is going to be, the first part is going to be the legs and arms. The second part is going to be the torso and hips. And then the third part is going to be the hands and feet. I'm going to have another part later on where I do the head, but I'm still kind of getting the concept of the head down. I kind of do it a variety of different ways, so making my own way of doing something into a tutorial is going to take some work. So I'm sorry about that. However, let's get started on this tutorial. Hello my students, we are now opening Maya. So we have the interface open now. How do you start sculpting your doll? Well, you're going to need a diagram. Before starting this project, I'm going to assume that you've already drawn out a diagram. If not, I have a test diagram ready for this tutorial and you can download it in the description box below if you'd like to follow along. So, first and foremost, we're going to have to add that diagram into our scene. So what I have done is I've gone to modeling, polymodeling, and I've added a plane to my scene. Now that I have the plane in there, I'm going to go to my attribute editor, polyplane, and I'm going to change it to 30 width, 30 height, 1 subdivision width, 1 subdivision height. All right. Now I have the plane in my scene, but it's kind of facing the wrong way. I want it to be facing this way. So I rotate it a little bit by clicking the the E button, and then I rotate it a little bit using this little axis, and then I find out where it is. I'm going to go -90, and then I have it completely straight on a 90-degree angle. I'm going to click W. Then I'm going to hold down X and snap it to the grid and push it all the way back. All right, but there's no picture on it. What can you do to do that? What can you do to do that? So I'm going to open my hypershader. You press the little sphere right here and it will open up your hypershader. This is kind of what your hypershader should look like. Yours might be slightly different. If it is, you can always go to the workspace over here and change it to Maya Classic, and that should get you back to where we are. So I'm opening up the hypershader, which for some reason stopped opening. Where are you at? There you are, right in front of me. I accidentally docked it. So I docked it again. I didn't mean to do that. Stop docking. So I'm going to open up a shader in Arnold. So I've opened up Arnold here. I'm going to drop down to the shader, and then by pulling this out, I'm going to open up the AI standard surface. Now that I have that open, I'm going to go to the color and click the checker box in the attributes here on the properties editor. So I'll open up that checker box and I'm going to click file. Now I have a file connected to my shader. In this file, I'm going to correct the file box, and then I'm going to go to my desktop doll diagram, which I've already created. If you're following along, you should download it and add it to your desktop. So now I have the file in here. Well, it's not showing in my scene even though I have it on my texture. Well, first I'm going to have to add the texture, so I'm going to have to click the item and then add this texture to that item. But it's still not showing up. So to make it show up, you have to click this button, which will show textures in the scene. And it's a bit scaled in the wrong direction, so I'm just going to click E and scale it back, which is 90 here, and now it's facing the right direction. One thing I don't like is how dark this is, so what I'm going to do is reopen my hypershader and go all the way down to where I have my picture diagram in my little box here. And I'm going to go to exposure and give it a 0.5 exposure. That should lighten it up. If I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. You can always pause this video and follow along that way. I am trying to go as slow as possible, but not so slow that people get bored with it. So please understand that I'm trying the best I can to make this tutorial as easy as possible for beginners and intermediate people, or anybody who just wants to follow along with this tutorial. So now we have our diagram in our box. We're going to also need a side view. So this is actually the front view, and we're going to need something on the side. So what I'm going to do is Control D after clicking the item, and that will duplicate it. I'm going to snap it to the middle, and then I'm going to press E for the rotation tool, rotate it a little bit to find out where it's located. So I'm going to rotate on the Y, and is it Y? Yeah, it's Y, 90 degrees, which snaps it back 0. There we go, 0 degrees, and now I'm just going to put it in the back so it's off to the side. Now, one thing that I like to do while creating these is to highlight both of them and then go into the display box on the bottom right hand corner. Click this button, which creates a new layer and assign selected objects. And then I'm going to double click this box here to take it into the render mode. And this way I won't accidentally click this as I am modeling my new doll. So one thing that I like to do when I'm modeling this doll is to break it up into the basic shapes. So for a BJD, most of the basic shapes are a circle. So I'm going to add a sphere. Well, the sphere has a little bit too many polygons, so I'm going to go into the attribute editor, go to polysphere, and I'm going to keep the radius the same, but I'm going to make the subdivisions 12, which is what I kind of like on my my resolution of my doll. So I'm going to translate it all the way to where I have my first joint, which is this leg. I'm just going to scale it up, and then I'm going to duplicate it and move it to the next joint. I'm going to scale it by clicking R, and then I'm going to move it to the next joint. I'm going to do it again, Control D, move it to the next joint, R, scale it down, W to align it, and then I got that joint. I'm going to do the same for the arms, Control D, scale it, W, R, maybe a little bit bigger. There we go. Control D, R, again, W, R, and then I'm going to also create one that's for the neck joint, which you can see right here, but it's not in the front view because it was blocked by the mouth. So I'm just going to go right here real quick and scale it to that neck joint. And then I'm actually going to fix some of this. I just realized while I was creating this that all of it isn't aligned to the x-axis. and I really want it to be aligned to the x-axis. So I'm going to go to front view, and I see that this darker line right here is my x-axis. So I'm going to move everything so that the middle of the doll aligns to the x-axis. First, I'm going to have to click the display and remove the R that's in my display. Then I'm going to click both of these items, which for some reason my plane is not being clicked. I'm just going to delete this. And I'm going to move it so that the middle of the doll is right there on the x-axis. I'm going to do the same thing for the left view or the right view. I'm going to click the doll. I'm going to align it so that it's aligned with the x-axis. I'm also going to go back to perspective mode. Left view, right view. Front view. Awesome. So now both this view, so if I go into the front of the doll is now aligned with the x-axis, which is 0 to 0. I'm also going to make it so that it's above the ground, which is this plane right here. I'm also going to check the left side or the right side, which is also going to be, I should have done them both at the same time. I'm going to click both of them, and now I'm going to make it so that it's above the ground. So now these are completely aligned together. I have my spheres. We have the x-axis right here, which is 0, 0. This is 0, and then this is 0, where the thicker lines are. And now I have it completely here. And for this tutorial, we're just going to do the legs to begin with. And then I'll do the arms, and then I'll show you how to do the body. So that is the order of operations I'm going to do. So I'm going to take these two planes again, add it to a layer, make the layer renderable but unclickable, and there we go. Now I'm going to go back to the front view and make sure all of my spheres are in the right position, which they have kind of shifted a little bit. And this one's going to go, I'm going to hold X on this one and snap it to the exact middle, and you'll see why that's important later. I'm going to go to the right view now. This particular model doesn't have a arm on the side view, so I'm just going to make the arm a little bit curved to the front. Awesome. Now making the joints together, or breaking them, basing them out real quick, is very easy. So what we're going to do is going to go into the front view, and I'm going to freeze transformations on all of these spheres. So I'm going to go to modify, freeze transformations, edit, delete by type, history. Now that I have all the history, I'm going to group these and duplicate it. I'm going to turn off this I'm going to call this duplication the joints, and then I'm just going to turn off the visibility. Now we have the other joints. I'm going to click them all, go to edit, ungroup, and now I have these that I can use for the legs, and the joints will come back later. So first of all, we're going to do this bottom thigh. To do the thigh, we're going to open up the faces, and we're going to delete the top faces on this sphere and the bottom faces on this sphere. All right. I'm also going to make sure that it is rotated so that it follows along a curve that goes, like an imaginary curve that goes along the inner side of the leg. I'm going to go to the right view and also make sure that it's doing the same for the right view, which is good. I'm going to go back to perspective. Now these are going to be cups for the joints, so it's going to cup the joint itself. Right now they're actually not in the right, they need to be reversed basically. So I'm going to reverse the normals. So I'm going to go to Mesh Display, Reverse. Alright, now I'm also going to open up this and right click it and click Edge. I'm going to click, well actually that's wrong. My apologies. I'm going to go and click both of the meshes, and I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Mesh and Combine. Then I'm going to open up the Edge mode and click the edges on both of these bowls. And then I'm going to click the Bridge tool and bridge them together. Now we have the basic shape to your doll. There's a little bit of an error happening right here. I'm going to see what's causing it. It doesn't seem to be anything it's only because there's layers on top of each other, and that's why it's giving me that black error. So what I'm going to do is go to the front view. I'm going to go to Mesh Tools, Insert Edge Loop. I'm just going to add an edge loop where the highest part of the thigh is, or the calf I mean. Now I'm going to click R to scale it and scale it up a little bit, W to move it over. Look at the right view as well. It needs to be pushed back. And that's about right. Now we have a basic shape for the doll. This is just the bottom thigh. Well, I need to do the next one, and I'm missing my joint. So I'm going to open up my outliner, which I was hoping it would be, there we go. Technical difficulties. Okay, going to open up this one, then go to outliner here. How do I go to outliner here again? I got it. Sometimes they change things in Maya and I get confused. So I'm going to open up the joints. I'm going to duplicate this joint. Object mode. Duplicate. I'm going to take it outside my group by middle mouse clicking and dragging it out. Then I'm going to rehide them. Now I have that joint and I have this joint. Now there are many ways to do a knee joint, and this way I'm just going to show you how to do a basic knee joint, which is where you have two balls on either thigh. So I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm going to go to the faces. I'm going to delete the faces here, and for the ball joint I want it to have a little bit of an extra sphere, so I want it to only click this instead of going to the exact middle. I'm going to go to object mode, I'm going to get a fly in my face, going to click both of these meshes and go to combine. Then I'm going to go to edge, Q to click it, and then I'm going to bridge the both of them as well. I'm going to go to Mesh Tools, Insert Mesh, and then I'm just going to drag a little edge loop about where the thigh is the thickest. I'm going to press R to scale it, and I'm going to scale it up and then move it over a little bit so that there's a nice curve along the right side of the doll. I'm also going to look at the right view, and I'm going to move it a little bit so that it matches my diagram. Awesome. And that is pretty much the leg. That's all you have to do for the leg. You're going to do the same thing for the arm. So, real quick, now we're on to the arm. We're going to go to the perspective view, or front view, I mean. And we're going to start with the forearm. I'm going to go to face. I'm going to delete the bottom faces on this one. And this one, I'm going to delete the top faces, the top half of it. I'm going to go to object mode, click both of them, mesh, combine, mesh display, reverse, because these are going to be cups. Then I'm going to go to edge loop, double click the top edge, double click the bottom edge, bridge. Now we have an arm with two cups, so that the ball joint is for the arm, the hand, and then the top joint is for the forearm. I can't remember which is forearm and which one's not, for the bicep. So I'm going to go to the front. I'm also going to go to insert edge loop. I'm going to add another one that's about the thickness, and I'm going to go to R, and I'm only going to click this one instead of the middle. This will make it more flatter and more oblong shape. You will see in the front. So it's a little bit more oblong shape than it is round, which I really wanted for this particular forearm. I'm going to go to object mode. I'm going to go back to my joints, turn them on, duplicate this joint for the middle of the arm, drag it down, re-hide. Now I have another joint for the arm. I'm going to go to the front view. Going to click this one, and I'm going to do the same that I did previously. I'm not going to go straight for the middle. I'm going to go for just a little bit above it, delete that. Now for this one isn't facing the right way, so I'm going to rotate it so that it's following along the middle of this arm. Now I'm going to open up the faces. Actually, let's undo that. I'm going to get the faces first, which I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to get the full half. I'm just going to get one polygon below the half point. And then I'm going to rotate it so it's following along that arm. Now I'm going to go to edge, double click the bottom edge. Oops, I forgot to combine them. So click both of the meshes, edit mesh, or mesh, combine, edge mode. I'm going to click both the edges, and I'm going to bridge them. Now I'm going to add an edge loop, insert edge loop, scale it up, move it over, check the front view or the side view Yep. This arm is actually not right on the bottom. So I'm going to get the vertices, and I'm going to just scale them so that they look like they're correct. And that is the arm. Pretty easy, right? It's the same steps you do for the leg. For the body, we are going to first get our joints for the body. We still need the top arm or the bicep, and then the bottom hip joint. So I'm going to collect all of these, modify, freeze, transformation, edit, delete all by type, history. That way I can clean up my little outliner. And now I'm going to turn on my joints. I'm going to grab this joint and this joint. I'm going to duplicate them, drag them outside the group, and then turn back off the group. Awesome. Now I have these joints in here. They're in here somewhere. I'm also going to collect these joints that I've already completed. I'm going to put it in a new layer in my display port, And I'm going to actually turn off the visibility so that I can just focus on the body of my doll, which is actually kind of difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rotating this hip joint so that the doll's hip goes down the leg, which if I remember correctly is sort of like this. Then you go down to the left side or the right side. Yes, it's sort of like this, and then it goes down here. Well, it's actually kind of like 45 degrees. There we go. That's about right. Which I forgot to delete the faces again. So delete half, exactly half of that sphere. Then you'll start rotating it so that it's hitting the bottom of this leg. For the front view, we want it to come down, which is pretty good. We're going to do the same to the arm. We want it to be about 45 this way. We're going to go to the right view. Yep, that's correct. And I forgot to delete the faces again. Oh well, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. Multiple selections. Oops. Sweet. Now we have the arm, we have the cup for the bottom, and we have the neck. Now I like to start with the neck. I'm going to go to the front, press F to frame, zoom out, go to face, delete those faces. Now I'm going to connect all of these into one mesh. Mesh combine. I'm also going to delete the left half of my doll along this x-axis that we have. I'm going to go to edge, get these bottom edges, press Ctrl E to extrude, press W, push it down. For this, I'm going to go to the edge, actually. There's a little trick that you can do. So I'm going to go to mesh separate. I'm actually going to click this mesh here and I'm going to extrude it just like so. And I like to extrude it with a thickness of 0.15. Now I'm going to go to this perspective mode, frame that piece, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it as a bicep. So I'm going to go to front view, and I'm going to start looking at where I want this bicep to be. So I think I like it to be right about here, because that looks like it's about where this bicep begins. So I clicked a couple of them, and now I'm going to click the other side. And I just like to do these by hand because I feel I have more control this way. I'm going to delete them, double click this one, delete that. Now I have a good bicep with a cup on the inside. I'm going to go to front view. I'm going to push up these verts. And I'm just right clicking and then doing that. Okay, now I'm just looking for where I want the middle to be, which I think is going to be here and here. And I'm just going to take this one and snap it to here. You do a snap by going to W for your move tool. You click the vertices you want to move, and then holding down V, you can snap it to a vertice. I don't like that because it's going to add some weird geometry, so I'm going to redo this. sometimes when you're doing, I'm just doing this part on the fly because I do have a lot of time struggling with it, so please forgive me. I might make a couple of mistakes as I'm going along. So I'm going to click the edges for this bicep, and then I'm just going to extrude it right, press R, make sure that it's, then press W. Now we have it going straight down. I'm going to grab the verts on this, press V, actually I'm going to do this, grab these, okay. I just reselected them and I'm going to snap them to, I'm going to press V and snap them to this middle piece. And now they're kind of where I want them. I'm going to click this middle, which I don't know what I just did. Hold V and then snap it down. Hold V, snap that down to the next level. Hold V, snap that down to the next level. Hold V, snap that down to the final level. Awesome. Now I'm going to click these vertices here and here. So W and holding V, I'm just going to slowly snap these to the neck where they're supposed to be. There. Now we've connected the two, but they're still two separate pieces. And I kept that personally so that I don't get them mixed up too much. So I'm just going to go to Mesh, Combine, then I'm going to go to Vertices, select all of the vertices, go to Edit Mesh, Merge. Then for here I do 0.01, press Enter, and you're done. Kind of like how that came out. Now I have the neck and the arm connected, but I don't have the thigh connected. So now I'm going to figure out how to connect my thigh. And I kind of like how these faces are. So I'm going to click these faces down here. And then I'm going to extrude them and then pull the vertices down. I'm going to go to face mode and delete these faces. I'm going to go to the front, collect these vertices, going to press R and scale them so that they're all flat. And then I'm just going to move them down. Alright, now here comes the hardest part. Connecting all of these verts to this thigh joint. And I'm going to do the same thing I did previously. I'm going to go to Control Object Mode, Control E, make the thickness 0.15, Object Mode, and figure out how I'm going to put this together. And I discovered that I want to cut off 1/4 of this particular outer edge. So I'm going to go to face mode and I'm going to start pulling out 1/4, which is only 3 quadrants, because 1/4 of 12 is 3. I'm just going to delete them. Now I have 1/4 completely removed. Now I need to go to my vertices, and I'm going to get this corner piece connected to this corner. So I'm going to go to W, move. I'm going to put that corner where it's supposed to be. Same thing for this one. And this one. Actually, that one doesn't belong there. This one belongs there. And this one's going to be somewhere in the middle here. We're going to need to add edge loop right here. But this made this right here into a wrong triangle. So I'm going to go to my modeling toolkit, going to go to my multi-cut tool, and I'm just going to cut this piece real quick so that I have a triangle going back into that pole or that vertice. I'm going to go to Q, then go to edge vert mode, click that vertice, drop it right there where it's supposed to be, W. There we go. Now I have this one, and I'm just going to connect it. Actually, I don't need these, so I'm just going to delete the faces of these. And I'm just going to try and put this the best that I can. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do one here. What's going on here? Did I get the wrong one? There's no real way to do this other than just doing it. So I can't really give you an exact tutorial for this particular part of the process. It's all about figuring it out. So I'm actually just going to redo this because I got it all mixed up. All right. I should have deleted those faces to begin with. Sometimes you just have to start over. Sometimes starting over is the best bet because you're able to understand what you're making and build a better version of that. So I'm extruding those edges again. I'm flattening them out so I understand. And I think what I'm going to do is also flatten this edge out on the side. So I have a bit of like a square going on here. So now I have a nice square. I'm going to fit this square into that triangle. Let's see what the front looks like again. Okay. Let's bring these down. And I think I'm actually going to delete some of these faces here too, because it's looking like that will help. Awesome. Now I'm going to go to vertices, and I'm going to start snapping them to approximately where I want them. I'm undoing because I don't like how that one fit. And I think I'm going to get rid of some of these faces here so that I have a thicker piece going along the side. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to put this one here and then this one here. That way the body is thick right here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now I'm going to put this corner where this pole is. And I decided I'm going to put these somewhere along this edge here. Which fit almost perfectly. There's only one edge here that didn't fit. Oh, two. One right here. We will come back to those in a bit. Right now we're all about making sure that we get a good shape. I can delete the edge loop that I had previously and clean up these verts. What I'm not liking here is the fact that the center point moves all the way right here. So what I'm going to do is redo these center points so that they're actually going to the middle. And I'm probably going to create some triangles right here around the public area or pubic area. Grabbing that vertice and then snapping it there. Now I'm going to see what's going on with the back. This one's just going to have to be right here. Alright, let's see what the front looks like. That's a little bit better. I'm liking how these are distributed to this. Let's look at the right side. This isn't too bad. The back, Let's hide our planes real quick. See the back. Not bad. This is a good beginning. So now we're just going to extrude these edges here and here. Control E, put the vert down, grab this vertice, snap it to here. All right. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Probably need to bring these vertices down some because the leg actually connects right here. Delete this face. See. Perspective. All right. Now let's do edge here to here. Bridge them. Edit mesh, or mesh tools, insert edge loop, and I'm just going to drop in a middle edge loop here. Then click this, extrude it. Vertice, put one here, and then put one here. It's a very ugly looking version, but I also need to click this vertice, not that one, and bring it out. Front view, let's bring it out all the way. Perspective. Face. For some reason the edges weren't connected, so that face came up wrong, so I'm going to delete that face because it wasn't right. Control export, not that. Control extrude, W, there we go. Vertice here. Front view, perspective, front view, vertice, I'm gonna go to the modeling toolkit, get the multi-collect tool, and then just make that into a triangle because I don't like how it was shaping up. It means I have a pole right there, but that's fine. And that's pretty much how you block in this particular version of the doll. Now it's about shaping up the piece that you have created. You have all of the spheres now connected. Now it's all about shaping up your product. So I'm going to go back to my channel box and turn back the visibility for my doll here. And then I'm going to go to this particular mode. And I'm just going to move some of these verts so that they're in the correct spot. I'm going to add edge loops. Control insert edge loop. I'm going to add one right here. Going to press R and scale it so that I can get it nicely shaped. I'm going to click these verts in the front. Scale them so that it's flat. You can click one and then click the other and then double click it, the other, and you'll get all the ones in between. It's a great shortcut. So I'm going to go to the right view and start putting them where they're supposed to be. I forgot to combine these, so we're going to go to Mesh, Combine, Vertices, Select All, Mesh, Edit Mesh, Merge. Now we have these welded together. And we have faces we don't need, which is here. No, it's here. These are the faces we don't need, and they're gone. So this is the front. I lost my train of thought. So this is the front. I'm going to bevel the edge a little bit by clicking the vertice and bringing it down or back. So that will give me a bit of a bevel. And I'm just going to get a bit of shape going on here. And distribute these. Front view. Distribute these. And it's all about trying to imagine how this face or this object will look. So I'm going to open up these faces here because I know that they're not quite where they're supposed to be. I'm going to go to the right side. I'm just going to push them out a little bit, opening up my diagram, pushing them up and out to about where they're supposed to be. We don't have to be perfect right now, but it is good to have a basis of where things go. Now we're going to start doing the bottom portion. We're going to go Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Loop, and just add more edge loops. I like to make mine more square. There we go. forgot to add edge loops to the verts that are missing. I will get back to that in a second. Okay, I'm going to add another edge loop. So I'm extruding this buttocks so that I can align it to my scene, and I'm just going to remove some of these faces and reconnect it so that it's nice looking. Here we go. Okay, we are going to have to make a triangle here. So edge, edge, extrude, W, R, front view, W, X, perspective, vertice. This is difficult. Don't get me wrong, this part is very difficult. My thoughts are this is the inner thigh, and now I'm trying to get the connection where the pubic area is, or the pubic area is. I'm going to worry about those verts that are alone in a different time. I'm just worrying about this particular edge that I have going here. I'm actually just going to delete these faces. I think they're what's confusing me. Grab these edges, extrude, W, R, X, WX, and that's where things are supposed to be. Vertice here, front view, X, sweet. Yay! We got it. Now we can add those extra edge loops. So edit mesh, insert edge loops, and we're just going to add 2 here, 1 here, and 1 here. I'm going to go to Q, V, W, V, to C, hold V, snap it to where it's supposed to be. All right, that is the body. We can go into the front view, turn back on the visibility of my background layers. It's not bad. I'm going to go to edge mode, get out of that multi-cut tool, perspective, front view, W, and just start bringing some of this back. Vertices. That's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it to be perfect, you're welcome to keep trying. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it as is. The hips are a little bit bigger than what she has in the diagram, but other than that, she is pretty well done. If anything, I might change up where this edge loop goes. Instead of going straight down, I'm going to make it go across. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to go to the edge tool, multi-cut tool, and I'm just going to cut this one all the way to the other side. So first I'm going to get it here, and then here. Press enter. R, left view, right view, view. And that's pretty good. I'm liking how that is looking. Let's delete this one real quick and then make another tool here and just bring there we go. Now we have better edge loops. I like how the edge loops are working in this one. Probably bring the vertices of this hip a little bit. W, bring it in a little bit. There we go. And you can sit here and do this for hours. Usually it takes me 5 hours to finish the body, 3 to 5 hours to finish the body, but this is pretty much a good base. I'm gonna fix these right here. There we go. That's looking better. So now we have a really good base. I'm gonna click off of it. And that's your base all done and dusted. Next we're gonna do the hands and feet. So stay tuned. Real quick before I go, I've unhidden my arms and legs. I'm gonna show you real quick how to make it so it's one full doll. So I'm going to click them all again, go to freeze transformations, edit, delete by type, history. Now my outliner is clean. I'm going to group them, duplicate it, go on X scale, and then do -1. Now you can see how the doll looks fully immersed on from each side, and you can tell where your body is wrong. Like mine has this weird split between the stomach, but you got the good booty. She got the good booty. She has, her hips are also a little too wide, as you can see, but that is fine for the purposes of this tutorial. I am just going to continue on and work from there. So let's go back to so let's move on to the hands and feet. Hello everybody. In this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to do the hands and feet of your BJD in Maya. To start off with, I have fixed some of the topography of the doll. I've gone ahead and re-typographed the pubic area and this hip. I've also shrunk the hip down a little bit so it follows the diagram more, if that is your thing. And I have also kind of left the right side alone, but you can see it does fit a little bit better. You will just have to add that in later. But for now, this is good. I do think the belly is a bit flat. If you look at it through the upwards, it is a little bit flat, but you do have a nice buttocks area to sculpt on and everything else. It's not perfect, but this is just a base mesh of a low poly doll. So it's not going to be 100% perfect in this particular set of things, but it's going to get you really close to where you need to be when it comes to sculpting your doll. Another thing is, if you're actually sculpting this doll, you would eventually take it into ZBrush, or you'll print it out with a 3D printer and sculpt on it by hand. That is my goal when creating this particular doll. In this case, I'm going to teach you how to do the hands and feet. We have already done the arms and the legs and the body, which we have most of the doll now completed. Now we're going to do the arms, the hands and the feet, followed by the head. So for this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to do the hands and feet. Okay, I may drop in and out. I'm kind of busy at the moment, so I'm trying to do this on my lunch break real quick. In this tutorial, we're going to start with a square, and we're actually going to hide the rest of this body. I'm just going to add it to this layer and then hide visibility. Now I'm going to go to the front view. I'm going to get this cube and I'm going to start putting it on my hand model. Doesn't matter which one, you can use either or. And I am going to scale this down and move it over. Scale it up. Now it's about the same length as this finger, the middle finger. Probably a little bit more. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to go into my modeling toolkit, connect. I'm going to add 2 for the joints. And I'm going to go to Mesh Bevel, Edit Mesh Bevel. Should have only clicked these 2. Edit Mesh Bevel, Vertice, W, down. Now we have the joints of my finger. Actually, let's undo that real quick. The tip of your finger is actually smaller than the bottom, so I'm going to undo back, get to that tip of the finger, go to face mode, go to R, scale it down a little bit. Now I'm going to go to vertices, or edge loop actually, edges, connect, enter, edge, edit mesh, bevel, vertice, connect the vertice, so that you have your joints for your finger. Alright, I'm going to go to vertices, select them all, edit mesh, merge. Now all those vertices are merged and we have a finger that can bend if you want it to. Now I'm going to go to front view again. Need to scale this that way, rotate it that way, I mean, -90. Now we're going to start making the forefinger and the pointer finger. I'm going to insert and move this point down, insert again. I just moved the pivot point to the bottom of the finger by clicking insert, holding V, snapping it down to the bottom, and now I'm pressing insert again so that it stays that way. Now I'm going to go Control D to duplicate. I'm going to duplicate one for the forefinger. I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. Duplicate it again. Use it for that finger. Duplicate it again. Use it for the pinky finger. Scale it down. And there we go. We also need a thumb, so I'm going to duplicate it one more time. And just put it out there. Now I'm going to rotate these to where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to rotate this to right here, this to right here, this to about here. Same thing with this one. Needs to be scaled again, so it's down. Awesome. I'm going to go to the top view and look down on these fingers. And we are just going to move them so that they're kind of like this. So they're kind of cupping down. Go to perspective. That's about right. Top view. Kind of scale them a little bit so that they're pointing the right way. That's why they're kind of like cupped this way. We don't need these bottom faces anymore, so I'm going to merge all these together by going to Object Mode, Mesh Combine, Face Mode. I don't need any of these faces anymore, but I do need to start bridging these edges. So I'm going to start bridging these edges real quick. Now I've got an edge loop going all the way around. I'm going to extrude W and just bring that down. Front view just to see where I'm going. And we're going to bring it down to the wrist. This pinky's kind of wrong. Oh well, that's fine. So I am also going to go to Object Mode, Mesh, Insert Edge Loop, and I'm just going to add an edge loop around where my knuckles are going to be. Now I'm going to go to Edge again, click these two edges, hold Shift, merge, collapse edges, collapse edge. Oops. Merge, collapse. Merge edges to center, nope. merge vertices to center, G, G, G repeats your last action, now this is actually from a tutorial already on YouTube. I am just converting it to a doll tutorial. So we will see when I start adding the ball joint that it is actually for a doll, not for a low poly human. So now we have this thumb, and the thumb actually needs to be scaled up. So let's go to insert, scale up, rotate, front view, rotate, about 45 degrees. That's correct. Top view, get this where it's supposed to be, which is about right here. Front view, here we go. Now what I like to do is delete the bottom faces here on the corner, and then I like to go to front view and add another edge loop to about where I want this thumb to come out. Probably give another one down here for the wrist. All right, now we're just going to delete the faces here and here on this corner. And now we're just going to go to edge, circle edge, bridge. Doesn't want a bridge because they're not the same. Also, this needs to be rotated, so let's go back to object mode. Let's rotate it some more so it's more even. That's about right. Object mode, select both of them, mesh, combine. Now we can do the merge, the bridge tool. Oops, bridge. Face. Don't like how that came out, so I deleted those. Now I'm just moving these to here because I like that. Edit mesh, merge, edge, delete that edge. Now we have a nice quad. And that's a pretty good thumb, if I do say so myself. It does need to be scaled up. It's still a little too small, so I'm gonna go to the front view, go to right, scale it up some more. W. R, scale it down, W, smooth it. That's about right. It's not perfect, but it's about right. There we go. I like it. I do believe this is one of my favorite hands I've done so far. Now we gotta add the ball joint. So I'm going to go to face and just delete these bottom faces that I had added earlier. Don't particularly like them. We have 4 faces and then 1 on the side. So let's get in a sphere. Polysphere. 8 by 6 sounds about right. Just guessing. We will see when we get it close to the hand if that's correct. It looks about right. Modify, freeze transformation, face. It's good. Edit mesh, insert edge, mesh tools, insert edge loop. We want one all the way around here, which is not going to be done. So we gotta go to modeling toolkit, multi-cut tool. We're just going to multi-cut. Around. Alright, I've added an edge loop all the way around the bottom portion of the hand. I could have just kept the last one that I had, but I wanted something that was a little higher. So I've cut the 4th of this sphere. I'm going to bring it back up, which I've cleared out the history last time. Now I'm going to go and also add an edge loop around this particular side. Let's see if I can't just do a connect. Nope, I can't. All right, I'm going to do a multi-cut tool again, and I'm just going to cut it all the way down to the middle here. Press enter. Going to do the same right about here to the bottom. Now this isn't for, we're not actually rigging this, so we don't have to worry too much about edge loops and how things really work. I know that I did the fingers, but in reality it doesn't matter when you're just creating a object that's going to be printed. So I'm going to go to edges, I'm going to go to face, and I'm going to delete these faces here. Oh, I didn't need to add those edge loops. I'm going to undo those edge loops that I added. Then I'm going to go back to my face and delete these faces. Alright. Now I'm going to go to vertices, and I'm going to start snapping these vertices to where I want them. I want the middle to go here, this to go here, this to go here. This to go down here. Probably actually should have needed that extra edge loop, but I didn't like how it was shaping up, so I deleted it. Trying to find the middle. Here's the middle. I needed to know what size that particular joint was, so I quickly just did that. I'm going to go vertices, mesh, merge, then I'm going to go to edge, vertices, and now I'm just going to redo that. W, here, here, middle, here, 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 object node, mesh combine, vertices, edit mesh, there's not an exact science to some of this. You really just have to figure things out along the way. I decided while I was doing that to basically bring the hand further forward and probably delete these two. So I'm going to bring this vertice forward and snap it to this one. Same thing with this one and this one. I've already merged these, so I'm going to go to the face and delete these faces here. I'm going to do the same here. And I'm going to get the edge, and I'm just going to loft them downwards. Or bridge them. Bridge! Bridge? No, they're not connected, are they? Mesh, combine, edge, bridge. Multi-cut tool wasn't working, so I had to merge all the vertices together to make sure that wasn't the problem. Now I'm just cutting this particular piece, and it worked. So now I'm going to go and apparently zoom out. I'm going to grab the vertices and move them there. And move them there. And that's a better looking hand if you ask me. So I'm going to merge the vertices again just to make sure it's nice and welded. Press 3 to see how it looks. And it's not half bad. I don't like the deformation right there, but the fingers look great. Everything looks great so far, so that's a good low poly hand to start off with. So we're done with the hand, and I'm going to put it where it's supposed to be. Going to fix some of these verts real quick. It's supposed to look something like this. Awesome. Front view. Modify, freeze transformations, edit, delete by type, history, front view, insert, bring the pivot point to the center here. Look it at the right side. Make sure the pivot point is exactly in the center of the ball. And it's perfect now. I'm going to show my body, and I'm also going to show these joints so I know where to put this hand. So I'm going to start moving it to where it's supposed to be. Front view. Awesome. Now we can go down 180 degrees. And there's our hand. Modify, freeze transformations again, edit, delete by type, history, hide the joints that we have. We have a nice hand. I'm going to delete group 2, put the hand in group 1, duplicate, reverse around the x-axis. Now we have two hands, which look great. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do the feet for a low poly model. We're going to start off with looking at the bottom of your doll, and we're going to bring in a cube. Alright, I'm going to go to the right view of the doll and move that cube to position. Now that it's in position, I'm going to start extruding the faces. So I'm going to just get this particular face, Control E to extrude, W, and bring it out. Control E, W, bring it out again. Now I'm going to start moving these vertices to where they're supposed to be. So one down here, one down here. These need to go higher. And then these need to go lower. This needs to go lower. And that's about right. Okay. Now that we have the base mesh all set up, I'm actually I wasn't supposed to do the toes. Sorry about that. Going to delete the toes real quick. Bring the vertices to the base of the toes. Bring it down, and there's where your toes are going to be. Going to extrude this and close it. Sorry for the mistake. I've only actually done the feet twice, and I do it using a low poly tutorial on YouTube. So if it just looks familiar to some of you, that's probably because it's a remake of a tutorial. Just based on this particular doll. So I'm adding 4 edge loops for 5 toes. Going to the top view, going to isolate. This is where, this is the big toe, these are the small toes. Okay, and we're going to go to vertices. Move these vertices over the big toe, and these toes. Big toe comes out a little bit. Awesome. Then these go in a little bit. So you get like a curve that's similar to this. That's right. Perspective mode, face. Now we're going to do the toes. So we're going to extrude. We're going to go down to the channel box, and we're going to turn off keep faces together. Keep faces together, off. Now we got some janky toes. Let's make them a little bit bigger. Bring this down. Front view. Right view. awesome. Now the toes don't look quite as crazy, and my chair is squeaking, but that's okay. I'm going to start making the top of this a little bit more rounded. That's good. Let's do that to the bottom too. Now I've made the toes just a little bit more varied so that they go smaller and smaller to the pinky toe. I'm going to add some edge loops to these toes. And this will make the knuckles. Kind of looks like they have hammer toes, so I'm going to fix this again. I'm going to bring these down. Just a little bit. Then I'm going to go under here and go to face and make the pads of the feet. Extrude, bring it down. Front view, right view, see how it looks. Let's bring these down some. That's better. That's a lot better. now we got a low poly foot, but we need to add the sphere. So we're going to do that real quick. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need something that's about 5. Five by 3 probably. 10, 3, no, 5, nah, 6, not 56, 6. There we go, that's a good shape. Top view. View. Accidentally added a camera. Oh well, I'll worry about that. Where's that camera? Delete that camera. Scale it down, get it to fit. Awesome. Now to put the foot onto the sphere, we're actually going to extrude the top pieces of your foot. We're going to bring them down a little bit, then we're going to extrude and then scale them in, then delete. I'm actually thinking of adding another edge loop, so edit mesh, mesh tools, insert edge loop, and I decided I wanted an edge loop right here. That means that the sphere is now not equal, so we need to make it equal, which is probably going to be 6 instead of 5. So 6 and 6 is 12. There we go. Let's see if that fits. Scale it down a little bit. Vertices. And we have too many. That's fine, we'll make a triangle right there in the middle. Freeze transformation on the sphere so that I can copy it. Then I'm going to go to face and delete these faces around. Then I want this to be the bottom portion of the foot, or the interior portion, so I'm going to reverse the normal so that they are in the right way. Then I'm going to combine them to a full mesh, vertice, select all the vertices, edit mesh, merge. Now they're all as one. I'm going to go to right view, vertices, and I'm just going to get all of these. just move them forward a bit. And that's looking pretty good. Here it is in shaded mode. We press 3, we can see how it looks. And it's looking pretty good. It's not the best, but it's good for what we need it for. Kind of don't like the toes that I made, so I'm going to get rid of them real quick. I made the bottom pads of this toe and it just wasn't working out. I thought it would work out. I like the idea, but it's just not, it's messing with my mesh, and I don't like how it's messing with my mesh when I turn it into smooth select mode or smooth mode. So I'm just going to quickly go to edge and just bridge these magic bridge. Ta-da! So now we have it all done. That is the foot tutorial. I'm going to put the ball back where it's supposed to be, which aligns perfectly. Now I'm going to go modify, freeze transformations, edit, delete by type, history. I'm going to bring back my original doll face. I'm going to go to front view. Don't know what happened there. And then I'm just going to make it so that it sticks. Just moving the vertices so that it's right, the pivot point so it's in the right place. Now I'm going to move it here and here. Duplicate, delete this version. Go to the right view, make sure it's connected. Yep. I'm gonna grab these spheres. Modify, freeze transformation, edit, delete by type, history. Put it in group 1. Connect group 1, duplicate, and voila. I don't know what happened there. Why did you move? Okay. Modify, freeze transformation, edit, delete by type, history, and drop them into group 1. Don't know what happened. I will know when I review this footage. So I'm going to go control duplicate, scale across the x-axis, -1, and now we have the full body of a doll. Next we're going to do the head, but that's probably going to be a long time coming because I am too tired. I've done both of these in one day, so I am going to edit the video and get it ready for viewing. I hope you like this tutorial. I'm not sure if it's going to be one or separate, but we will see. It's probably going to be one really long video that I'm going to cut up, but I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Okay, that was the end of this tutorial. I've closed out my programs and I'm done for the day. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you're able to create your own doll that you enjoy. Again, this is what we created. It's very pretty. I really enjoy the look of it. It is something that we could all enjoy and create together. I'm sorry for the long video. However, I did divide this into separate parts so that you can jump along and enjoy at your leisure. It's a bit of a casual tutorial, so I hope you didn't mind it too much. It is a very long tutorial, so my apologies. And if you have watched this tutorial and you enjoy learning from it, please give this video a like and a comment if you have any issues. If you need some extra help, feel free to contact me on Facebook. I have an email in my description box for my About page. So you go onto my channel, go to About, and then you can find my email there if you need some help. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram if you'd like to get in touch with me there. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are able to follow along easy. And I really enjoy seeing what you create if you decide to share it with me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye now.